Hello! Welcome to Why Not Both, the podcast all about how our multiple passions and interests shape our identity and our lives. My name is Pam Schaefer, and I am a musician and therapist in Los Angeles, and I also happen to be your host. This podcast is produced by Laura Studeris, and for this season, we've partnered up with Under the Radar magazine. If you like what you hear, you can hang out with us on social media. We are on Twitter and Instagram at WNB the podcast. And if you really, really like what you hear, please support us on Patreon. We are under Why Not Both podcast. When you join our Patreon, you get a whole bunch of really cool behind the scenes stuff and you get to chat with us. And that's pretty awesome. Thank you so much for your support, and I hope you enjoy our interviews. For this episode, we got to hang out with Girl in Red and chat about, quite literally, everything under the sun. I hope that you enjoy. Welcome to Why Not Both, where no one has an attention span.
Yeah, my mom says I have a monkey brain, and I think she's not. I don't think she's wrong. I think she's right. I see something, and then like I'm gone constantly. So I think I need to close my eyes now because I can't look at anything.
Someone once asked me why I was late, and I definitely said traffic because I'm from LA, but I was literally distracted by the books that I own on my own shelf one time.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, that sounds very like a good moment, honestly. Like you're just like appreciating the fact that you probably have like a bunch of books you've never read. So that's like, I mean, I do that. At least I have like some like Simone de Beauvoir books that I've never read. And like, it's just like staring at me and like, girl, you're never going to read this.
That's hilarious. My bookshelf is like totally a melange of things that I've read like an million times and then things that I've never read. And there's no in between. It's not like there's like, oh, there's one that I've skimmed through. It's just like, it's really one or the other.
Yeah, I relate to that. I just feel like I've read The Perks of Being a Wallflower like 10 times now. So I need to, renew some brain cells soon because, I don't want to be that person who's like, I don't know, trapped in my own little bubble. I don't know what I'm talking about. Stop me now. Okay.
No, that's interesting you say that because like in fiction, sometimes you can get like, you almost want to go back and visit your favorite characters because like they only live in that book. And so if you aren't reading that book, you aren't hanging out with them right then.
Oh, honestly, that made me kind of sad because I just read Just Kids by Patti Smith and I miss them. Like that's weird. That like I feel like I something is weird with me because I miss Patty and Robert from that book. And like even though like Patty it's kind of based on a real story. I feel like I miss being in it. So I kind of relate to that actually.
That makes complete sense. I remember reading that and feeling similarly, and that's why I've read that book 4 times.
Oh, I've only been able to read it once, but I'm probably going to read it at some other point in my life when I feel like I need that extra inspiration and reason why I ever became an artist.
Exactly. And especially, I mean, we were chatting before about how it's like the pandemic vibes of, oh, how charming it is now when Zoom makes a strange noise and someone sounds abstract. I don't know if you've been reading a bunch during Quar. I did find myself reading more and becoming all the more attached to the characters that I've read about.
I don't think I've read that much more, actually. I feel like I've just been on my phone a lot more, which is a bad development. Like, I just feel like, I don't know, I think I wrote in my diary that like the only thing that I care about is this girl from Instagram to DM me. And I was like, holy shit, okay, I think I've come to like a point of desperation and like literally nothing else than just like social media. And then I feel like that was a turning point because I was like, I don't want this to be me. So now I think I'm making some music also, but I don't know. Quarantine has made me weird. I feel like this pandemic is just like, I don't know. I don't know who I am anymore.
Well, it is like a time to, in a way, almost like redefine our identities because in a way we're not being observed except on our phones. Like I've heard that a lot because I've been on my phone a bit more too and discovered TikTok.
You discovered TikTok? Oh my God. My condolences.
R.I.P. my dwindling attention span.
Yeah. Well, honestly, TikTok is like it's my favorite app. It's of all the social media apps right now. It's like the one that's the most fun, and it's just like, oh, sorry, my dog just came in. Now, speaking of animals,
Dog.
yeah, we just got home from a walk, and now she is looking at me with her dog eyes. She just got her food, so now she's like, I want my after food snack cuddle. Like,
hi, baby.
Oh, there she goes.
What kind of dog is she?
She's a Bernese Mountain Dog.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, she's a gigantic, beautiful teddy bear. Like she's a real cutie.
What a good floof.
Yeah, she's a floof.
Oh my
The best kind.
Oh,
Yeah.
That sounds like she's amazing to go on walks with too, because then you could see all the fluff just sort of like sauntering down the street.
In the wind.
Oh, that's so good.
Well, I got her this summer actually. I adopted her. So she was 3.5 when I adopted her, and she needed a new home. So I was like, yay, I also want you in my home. So like get inside kind of. Yeah, it was she's really made my life a lot better. It's insane.
Oh, yeah, it's funny because I was like, yeah, that life sounds so familiar of just like, since our main contacts are through the internet, of course, waiting on a girl to DM you is like what you do. And then the thing that keeps you half sane is the furry creature that has come to visit your home and is your familiar now.
Honestly, that I think she's probably one thing that has kept me like sane during this time, like because she keeps me busy and she keeps my attention, and when I'm about to spiral into some weird shit, she's there and she's like, hey, and when I cry, she comes up to me and she wants to comfort me. I'm pretty sure she knows I'm crying. She knows I'm sad as hell.
Yeah. Well, animals know, and they're like, "Are you distressed? Can I lick you? Can I make muffins on you? Like, what do you need, human?"
They don't really have they don't have anything to offer but themselves, which I think is really sweet. It's just so pure.
That's a beautiful way of putting it. I hadn't thought of that way, that they're just like, I bring you fluffy love. That's it.
Yes. I mean, they're literally, they're also like, they bring you a lot of work. Like they cause a lot of work, but it's definitely worth it.
Oh yeah. My sometimes cat begs for food when I'm getting my vitamins, because like my vitamin bottle, I guess, sounds like her treat bottle. And so like he just goes berserk when I have my morning vitamins. I'm like, I don't think
That's
you want
so
these.
cute.
It's really cute.
My dog, she also gets really fired up when I'm like, I just open up I have like this kitchen, like I don't know what they're called, like is a cabinet or whatever. Like I just store a lot of food in there. Well, now it's just like a lot of candy and chips, so I don't really have any food. Like my fridge just contains like oat milk and then film, like for photography, and moldy pizza. So that's it.
Sounds accurate.
It's a bad fridge.
But it has film in it.
It has film in it, and that's the only thing that makes it a cool fridge.
I mean, also oat milk is my favorite of the milks. So I'm like,
I mean, honestly, yes. Like the other than dairy, like I don't even like dairy anymore. I used to drink whole milk like for pleasure.
Living on the edge.
Yeah. But I don't want that dairy in me anymore. Plus oat milk is actually a lot better for the environment.
It's true. Out of all the milks, I researched all the non-dairy because I did not love dairy prior, but then dairy decided it really didn't love me. So it was an antagonistic relationship. And so I researched all of the non-dairy milks, and of all of them, because I like almond milk, like soy milk's kind of me. But oat milk, I was like, oh, this is so delicious. I really hope that this is actually good for the environment as well. And it was. I was like, yes, good.
Yay! That's a good one. It's like it's so good in like a latte. It's
yes.
so good.
Oh
like,
my God.
my go-to order now is like double iced latte with oat milk. That like there's something about oat milk that just like really just like amplifies coffee taste.
Yes, it's better than the other non-dairy ones because almond milk doesn't blend really well. It gets like weird and chunky, but like oat milk blends perfectly. So anyone listening to this, if you're like, oh no, I wish I could have dairy, but I can't oat milk. I'm allergic to like a lot of things. It's unfortunate.
I'm also allergic to a lot of things. I discovered I was allergic to walnuts last year. I was in Copenhagen in February, right before I realized that, holy shit, okay, maybe I shouldn't be traveling. Anyways, I went into a 7-Eleven and I bought a cookie because I was like, I want that cookie so hard. Took one bite and like immediately my mouth just like exploded and like my lips got really swollen and I felt really weird. And then like I started getting a bunch of rash and then like I was rushed to the hospital.
Oh my God.
I know. So I have like one of those EpiPens with me now.
Oh my God.
Yes. And I had to inject it. I was in the studio and then my friend ordered a couple of sandwiches and they were really good, but the pesto had walnuts in it.
Oh no.
So I had to call 911 and then I was like, yo, okay, I had some walnuts in my pesto. And he was like, inject your EpiPen right now.
Oh no.
And then like the ambulance came. Luckily ambulances in Norway are free. I recently figured out like they're not free in the United States, which is crazy. But so it was luckily I survived and they brought me to the hospital.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad that you discovered what it was exactly, but that's terrifying when you have a food allergy like that. Like, because then you're like, is it going to be in this mystery food that I'm eating? Like one of my friends that tours a lot, though obviously not right now, she has a very similar thing and it's very difficult because then she's like, no, like I'm not just being a diva and like saying I can't eat certain things. Like she's like, no, it's very bad if I eat this.
Oh my God. And it's kind of sad like how like some female artists will like automatically be like, I promise I'm not a diva.
I know.
I've gone into that same like, hey, like this needs to be in this way for me to like function, but it's not like a diva thing. It's like I will get really, really anxious or like it will just like not work for me if it's like that. Yeah. And then I'm always so scared I'm gonna be like perceived as a diva because I don't want to be like I've had nightmares about becoming a diva. Like I don't want to be one.
Which is so strange because I think about it, I'm like, does anyone else worry about being a diva? And the answer is yes. And I'm like, what stories were we told that we're afraid of like expressing our own preferences and wanting things the way that work for us? And I was like, wait, that's a good thing. Why am I afraid of a good thing?
Plus, also, I feel like I think I've solved the myth of a diva because I'm not even sure. Like some people might be a little bit high maintenance, but I don't know. But I think a lot of people who think, you know, artist or anyone is like a little bit of a diva is because they have certain expectations of how that person is. So when they meet that person and their expectations are not met, they're like, oh my God, you're not what I thought you were. So therefore you're a diva. Or like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like when like your own sort of, I don't know, imagination and kind of like own perception that you've made of a person doesn't really match that. And it's like, or maybe you feel like you don't get exactly what you want from that person. You think it's because of their diva-ness. Who knows? But that's my theory.
Yeah. And also like in a way having boundaries is I guess how I'd put it, where it's like, if people have part of their life be private or people express what their preference is and they don't compromise on certain things, that they're like, no, like either this works for me or like it doesn't. And if it doesn't work for me, like I don't have to be down on it, but I don't have to engage with it.
Yeah.
And that can be perceived as like diva behavior when really like in my brain now I'm like, oh, no, you're just being a cat. Like I love cats. Like,
I met a cat yesterday. I'm speaking of allergies. I'm so allergic to cats. Like I will die if a cat is near me.
oh no.
But I met a cat yesterday and like I felt really offended. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, I used to like I've had many cats. I used to have a cat named Pepperoni. I loved him. We would do cool tricks together, and especially me making him do like backflips and shit. It used to be weird, but I was also a child who didn't really know that maybe I shouldn't be throwing my cats around. Anyways,
The cat doing backflips. Carry on.
Anyways, I met that cat yesterday and I was like, why don't you want to like hang out with me? Because I'm so used to like Luna, my dog, just throwing herself at me constantly.
Yep. And that's totally, that's a cat vibe where cats are like, I don't want to hang out with you right now. And you're like, why? And the cat's like, no reason. I just don't feel like it.
Yeah, exactly. But
like,
I mean, like, I get it. I mean, like, they're animals. Like, I don't really feel like I have the right to like expect an animal to love me. But because like they're, you know, they're probably used to like, I don't know. I don't even know what. I mean, they're probably so like, what's it called? Like when you put animals inside your house,
domesticated.
They're so like, yes, that word. I'm so confused by that word because I feel like domestic flights, and then it's like domestic violence and domesticated cats. Like, what is this shit? Like, I don't know the difference between any of these.
Yep. I was like, I could get real nerdy on that because it comes from the same Latin root that means, yeah, it's like a family or like kind of around like dome. I'm probably going to cut that out because wow, am I nerdy. But it's like, why am I like this? The domain, yeah, it's all the same root. And so it's like that which is in like your domicile, your home. And so
well, is that another way of home? Like of saying home? Domicile?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Right? It's this really weird, like, yeah. When you said that, I was like, oh, wait, I got this one.
Whoa. Okay, but I mean, like, I have more like understanding of like, I don't know, like we have different words for that in Norwegian. So like we have, I don't know, it's weird. Like I don't fully understand what's it called? Do you guys? Is it called English language? Is that?
Yes. The English language is weird because it's a mashup of a bunch of other languages.
I'm such a huge fan of English, though. I wish I was like more fluent than what I am. Like I'm pretty okay, but like I wish I was like better. But I mean, I can get better.
I wish that I frankly understood more Norwegian because whenever I hear it, like Norwegian and Icelandic always just sound like everyone is saying something just whimsical and powerful at once, even when, you know, you're saying like, hello, how are you? Like,
my friend told me she feels like every time I say something in Norwegian, I sound so happy. She's like, you just sound like the happiest person I've ever met. But I kind of get it though, because like we sing a lot more when we talk. Like it's more like la 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 la. But you guys are more like da 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 da. Like you guys go like more down, like boom.
Yeah, we have more downbeats, and it's a more kind of like staccato language. It's not quite as choppy as some languages, but it's pretty choppy. And so it lends itself to singing in a way because you can do it rhythmically, but it doesn't have like a singy aspect to it, like a cool cadence when you're speaking it.
No, but I'm into that. I'm into this language. I want to learn French though. That would be really cool.
Oh, French is so cool. I started learning French and then forgot because I was a child.
Oh, I thought maybe, you were going to say you were doing like Duolingo or something.
A lot of my friends have picked up different languages on Duolingo and then talk about being like essentially like hunted down on their phone by the Duolingo owl.
Oh my God. I was literally just going to say that because they're like, hey, we miss you. And they're like, hey, they're guilt tripping the shit out of me. Like what I'm like, yo, do you guys have the right to be like this? It's like I don't even know. I'm not vibing with the notifications they're sending me. It's just not a good energy.
Yeah.
They're really calling me out.
That's exactly. It's like if you respond well to like shame, which I mean, some people do because it's horrifying. It works, but otherwise, you're like, no, don't shame me into learning another language. Oh my god!
I know. I wonder who maybe I don't know who's making those notifications, but they're probably having a lot of fun.
They're messing with everyone.
Yeah, they're just like, we want to bully you. Learn French or die. That's
exactly. The only option.
That's the newest notification I got.
Oh my god. So I was going to ask how learning French was going, but it sounds like the answer is terrifying.
Yeah, it's not going very well for me. I fell out of that, especially after the death threats, but but I learned how to say I'm girl in red, which was je suis la fille en rouge.
Ooh. Oh, that's.
But that sounds. Je suis la fille en rouge. Fuck. Je suis la fille en rouge. Je m'appelle Marie. Ich komme aus Norwegen. That's German.
Yeah, I was just like, hold up.
Yeah, that's like 9th grade German right there.
There we go. Yeah. So I'm like, well, you didn't get bullied into learning too much French, but you learned just enough French. That sounded very good. Like even like the transition to German was rather seamless.
I mean, from anyone who doesn't speak any of those languages, it sounds pretty nice, probably. But I don't think neither of them were probably good. I mean, I have a good ear though, like because I think I can sing, so therefore I have like I can kind of hear like how like the way languages kind of like move, I guess, you know what I mean? Like yes. The tone.
Yes. I completely agree. That's whenever I've been trying to pick up languages, like it helps when I'm in a place so I can hear people speak it, because then I can just hear what they're doing, and then essentially you make those sounds back, and ta-da, you've made words.
There's actually one thing I really want, like how do actors, like why are actors so good at like doing accents? Like that's something I've been wondering about. Like, okay, let's say Emma Watson doing like an American accent in like The Perks of Being a Wallflower, the movie, which I've also watched 100 million times. Like, I've never understood that. Like, okay, like let's say any random person, it's like, oh, can you do a British accent, eh? And it's like, then they go like this, and it sounds bloody horrible, right? it sounds bloody shit. But then, like, if you some like American dude. Okay, have you ever watched Riverdale?
So I have. First I was like, oh, this is like so bad that it's good. That I was like, did it just loop back to bad again, or did the bad loop to good again? Like it kept swirling between those two.
Yeah. Riverdale is a real journey. That's like, I feel like Riverdale started out like it started out okay, but then like the plot just got lost in itself. Like it just got so lost. So, and then I got lost in it, and then I stopped watching it. But I was just thinking of like, what's he? I can't even know. His name is, the red hair guy.
Yeah.
KJ Appa. I'm not sure. KJ Appa. I don't know.
Like the guy who plays the red haired guy.
Yeah. And he does I think he's from Australia, but he does a really good American accent.
Oh, I had no idea he was not American. So he does do a good American accent.
Right.
I was really distracted by how they, and I find it beautiful and fascinating how they color tone that show. Like the way that they color correct things, that almost like whoever has red hair, like there's the girl with the red hair as well, like their hair always looks almost like supernaturally red. it's so interesting to me how they did that I was like, I wonder how they color corrected this, that like there's other parts that aren't red, but they somehow made the hair really red.
I honestly have no idea. It's probably just like some killer ass what's graders or whatever. What do you guys call them? Color graders?
There's like color graders, like visual effects. See, this is why it's hard for me to sometimes watch television, is that like, what do I get distracted by? I'm like, how do they make their hair look so red? And like nothing else that's red in the scene is not red.
Yeah. Okay. But what about movies? Do you watch movies?
Very infrequently for that exact same reason.
What's the last one you saw? Toy Story when it came out.
I watched Eurovision. I watched all of that. I watched because
that ain't no movie.
I had to really think. I was like, what did I last watch? That was a full movie. That's the last full movie I watched.
No. Honestly, thinking I can't remember the last one I watched either. So it's a bit tough one to take on the spot, honestly. And it's not that long ago since I watched a movie. So I actually never listened to podcasts. I wonder what it's like to like. Yeah. This sounds really embarrassing, but I didn't really know what podcasts were until 2019.
Do you want to know a secret?
Yeah.
I didn't either until I started a podcast.
How did you wait? How does that even work?
Oh my God.
How does that work?
The deepest, darkest secrets. It's all about when you were saying you're like, I don't know who I am anymore. And I was going to ask you about being a photographer. When you end up stuck alone, you end up like discovering weird things. And like I had discovered on a lark that there were these things called podcasts that I personally hadn't listened to. But I was like, oh, wait, you can just record yourself talking to people? Oh, that's cool. I want to talk to people who do a bunch of different things because I do a bunch of different things. And it was literally just a random idea that it popped in my head. And then I got stuck inside for a long time.
So when did you start this podcast? Like last year then?
I started it right before lockdown. Like I tried a few episodes on my own in 2019 just to see like if I liked it. And I did. Yeah. And then one of my friends who does like music and journalism and stuff was like, oh, do you want me to produce your podcast with you? And I was like, well, that sounds like a lovely idea. No idea what that meant, but I was like, yeah, sure. Love that.
Just like you hear the word producer and you're like, yeah, I'm sold. I want the produce part.
Exactly. I was like, I play music. I know what a music producer does. I'm one of those. Let's find out what a podcast producer does. And yeah,
so you made it.
Later, we're here.
Whoa. Okay, that's pretty cool. I don't feel like I picked up on anything. Like I feel like I don't feel like I've made anything like cool, like embarked on any like thing new other than like I did start listening to a few podcasts during quarantine. Ooh. So I feel like that's growth right there.
That is growth. What and you have a dog familiar. I'm like,
okay, actually that's also a wild one. I made an album. So I did do something. And so I haven't just been laying on the floor and just I think I had a pretty decent time actually.
Yeah, I mean, if you're still here talking, so therefore I'm like, I know you did good. I'm like, you've made it this far.
Like, oh, this is so cool. And I've never been in a podcast either. I feel so weird right now.
We're having a meta podcast experience.
Oh, maybe people think it's like weird I'm addressing it. Maybe they're like, dude, you're breaking the fourth wall.
Oh my God. That's hysterically funny. Yeah, I didn't listen to any. And I'm like, one, I'm curious what you're listening to. And also, did you like casually just be like, oh yeah, I also made an album?
Yeah, I did say That. Well, I listened to like a few Norwegian ones, so they're pretty probably very unknown, but I've listened to this other one that's called Switched on Pop, I think.
Oh.
I think that's what it's called. I might be like not remembering the name correctly, but so I'm mostly just like checking out music stuff. But I also, my friend or acquaintance or whatever, I don't know who she is, whatever. She sent me a few podcasts that I listened to, and it was just like, but it wasn't like two people talking. It was like more this one person telling a story about their life, which was really giving and like very rewarding listening to. So I think I want to spend more time like getting shit like directly into my ears, like information. And I mean, yes, podcasts, sounds, not anything else.
Nothing else.
Nothing else. Or maybe music. I can have music in my ears also.
Because I know that you said that you have film. I was like, wait, so do you shoot film on video, or do you shoot like photography film?
I shoot photography film, but now I have a Super 8 camera also that I bought film for. So that's like photography film, but it's a film camera, video camera thing.
Yes.
So, but I mostly I like to take pictures, and I like to do it on film because it just feels like it has a lot more. I don't know. I just feel like I like the vibe of film and like how it looks.
And also, like, you can't. It's interesting talking to people who work with film, because unlike digital, it's not like you can like, oh, I'm just going to take like 20 of them and like edit one. It's like with film, it's like, no, this is the one version of this that I am taking.
Yeah. And then obviously you can edit it later, but usually I think it's nice to just like, I mean, you can kind of like color, or like you can grade it and like edit it a little bit just to like make it pop, because it can get a little bit like faded. But
yeah,
I don't know. You get someone like I don't know. I feel a lot more aware every time I take a picture with like a film camera.
Yeah.
But honestly, I've been taking so many pictures now. So now, and I only do it with film. So it's kind of like I take so many candid photos that I'm not being as careful anymore, which kind of sucks. But I still love like, you know, getting them developed. That always feels like Christmas. So I still love that part of it.
Yeah, I was just going to ask about that. I was like, one, what are you photographing? And two, where do you get them developed? Because that was always my favorite thing, when you take a roll in and then you have to wait until you get the photos back. And there's
because I love like forgetting like what I've like photographed. I love that. Like looking back and then like, oh, I didn't remember I did this, but like I'm so happy I have it like captured.
Yeah.
I like to shoot anything really, like hanging out with my friends. My dog looks cute for a second. My sister in the kitchen reading, like anything that's like feels remarkable in like a very small daily way, like everyday kind of beauty, if that makes sense.
That totally makes sense. I love that. I used to take a camera with me when I was in like high school. I would sometimes take like a disposable camera with me just to like have around, and I would just take random pictures, and then like when the roll was done, I'd get it developed, and same thing where it's like I would forget what I had taken photos of until I got them back. But then it would be like a very similar things where it's like almost like mundane everyday things, but it's so much fun to like see the beauty in those, and to also like just see different images of all those moments.
I mean, those are I feel like those are the best photos. I mean, like you can get your friends together and say cheese, but like, yo, that does not reflect anything of like how it was to be with your friends at that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, I don't want to have like no constructed moments or anything. I'm always like, Joe, look at the camera, you bitch, like to my friends when I'm taking pictures, because I'm like, I don't want to be here when I take out the camera. Like I'm not here anymore. So
funny. Aggressively candid photos.
It's always, but I'm always just so aggressive. But it's like in a loving way. So
yes,
it's always well meant. But I feel like my entire like friend group and my band and like anyone who's around me now, like they know that I don't want them to react. So they're kind of, there's not that much yelling anymore. The yelling phase is over.
Now it's just the silent skulking about with the camera being like, haha, I take photos, ma.
Yeah. And everyone's just like, oh, okay.
Yep.
This is going to be bad, but we're just going to pretend we're not here.
Well, it's fun being the photographer because then, like, in some ways you get to capture everything. But I'm like, oh, do you have people ever take photos of you on film, or like, what's your experience of being on the other side of the camera?
No, okay, I've actually thought about this because, like, every time I hang out with my friend, I take a lot of pictures just because I like taking pics, whether it's just on my phone or, camera or whatever. And he's always like, send pics. But he never takes anything of me. But bitch, I don't want to send you photos. Like we can trade, but oh wait, you don't have anything. Looks like you don't get any. Like,
yep.
I always end up sending him pics, obviously, but it's just like, why can't, like, I don't know. I guess it's just like some people see images and some people don't. So therefore, like, some people take pics and some people don't. But yeah, so I'm not that much, like, there aren't as many pics of me as it is from, like, of my sister or, but I do have one friend who takes pics of me. Because he's the same as me. So like, he's always the one walking around with the camera and takes pics of everyone. But when there's like no pics of him. But now we kind of, when we hang out together, it's always, we fulfill each other's photo needs. So that's good.
Yes. Well, that's when you were saying, like, that even when we were talking earlier, when you said like, oh, I've been on like my phone a lot and I don't want to do that. Like, I think like during this time when that is our connection, it's really strange to me also that it's like, one, that's our connection to people, but two, a lot of people have been expressing themselves through photographs of themselves, but it's themselves seen through their own eye, which to me is so interesting. Yeah. Like, I think that selfies kind of get a bad rap where it's like, oh, it's about vanity. And it's like, I mean, in some ways it can be, but it's like, at this point, it's also like how you see yourself through your own lens. Whereas when someone else is photographing you, like I really like being photographed by certain friends of mine because I like how I look through their eyes. And it's different than how I look through my own eyes. And it's very
it's also like, I feel like, but is the way that is the selfie really like how you see yourself, or is it just like you see yourself the way you want to see yourself? So, like, let's say, have you seen all the TikToks with the inverted filter and everyone's like, oh my God, my face is so asymmetrical. And like, which is so weird because the way you see that person is always like that. And they're not asymmetrical. I mean, they are, but at the same time, they're not, because that's just how people are. You know what I mean?
Yes, you see them in, yeah.
So I mean, especially when if I take selfies, which I don't do a lot, maybe like once every 2 weeks. There's not a lot of, I do mirror pics though, just to when I have a fire fit, I'm like, this is dope. I want to save this. But I always feel like, it's because the way I see myself, I'm not satisfied with. So I tilt the cameras in different angles the way I want other people to see me,
I hadn't thought of it that way because I do sometimes wonder about the camera tilt when I'm taking outfit pics because I'm like barely 5 feet tall and I realize my perception looking in a mirror is not going to look like really anyone else looking at me unless they're like a child. Like everyone sees me kind of from this like above angle. And so I tried photographing myself from that and it was this really like strange experience where I was just like, is that what other people see? Because I can't really mimic like what do other people see of me if they're encountering me. And like no one's encountering me lately. So
So I mean, you're just showing what you kind of think feels good to show other people also. But oh my God, not 5 feet tall?
Barely. If I stand up really straight.
Okay, so you're like 4'9"?
Like
4.9 1/2.
At the doctors, they gave me 4.11 3/4, and I was like, "Really, guys?" And so they were.
Wait, you guys go up to 11? I thought you guys.
Yeah.
You stopped at 10.
Oh, we are. Oh my God, the inches system is so stupid. Like, honestly, the metric system makes so much more sense. But the only part of the metric system that, for whatever reason, my brain works in Celsius instead of Fahrenheit. But like, since I grew up not using the metric system except for in science class, for whatever reason, it's still not intuitive for me to use it. And that's dumb because it's a better system.
It is a way better system. It makes so much more sense, honestly. Like y'all talking about ounces and shit, you lost me already.
I'm literally Googling feet to meters so I can tell you how tall I am in meters. One sec. I am 1.5 meters tall.
Oh my God. Well, I'm a lot taller than you. I'm 5'9".
Oh. You are significantly taller than I. Yeah.
Wait, but you said something about earlier. You mentioned something about in your ears. You were saying like production and music or something. Does that mean you do music production?
I do music production.
Okay, so what is it that you don't do? Holy shit.
That was literally the thesis of this podcast. Is I was like, gosh, there's got to be a lot of other people who do a whole bunch of weird stuff. I want to talk to them because that's my life.
Holy.
I'm
wow, like, okay.
Yeah.
So what kind of music do you make?
I make a lot of like electronic piano-y singy stuff. Someone called it Space Witch music, and I loved that. I was like, thank you. I am a space witch.
I mean, that's one hell of a genre right there.
Thanks. Another person was just like, wow, you're kind of like the millennial Enya. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Thank you.
Wait, Enya? Who's that? Like, I am too young for this shit.
I was like, hello, I am tiny and old. Enya is this amazing, she's the lady that sings in Lord of the Rings, like the old time song.
Is it that one?
Yeah.
That's I know that from TikTok.
Heck yeah. She's the super chill lady that just like amazingly makes this music that sounds very ethereal. And she literally lives like in a castle in Ireland or something, like with cats. Like she just like is living her best life being like, I'm going to record 70 vocal layers in my castle. Ta-da.
Okay, that's insane.
That's just her life. And I'm like, oh my God, comparing me to her is like amazing. I'm like, cool. I got the 70 vocal layers. Like, where's my castle?
Oh my God. I found a bunch of like French castles for sale, which is insane. Like in like southern France, there are like castles for sale, and they're really expensive, but apparently they're not very good to have for your personal money savings and shit. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I also want to have a big castle one day. That would be so cool.
There you go. Yeah, because I'm like, what could be cooler than like meandering around in these like echoey caverns, just recording things? I'm like, that just sounds amazing.
That sounds very witchy. That sounds like some magic right there.
Exactly. I'm like that.
You'd have your own like potion room and shit.
Oh my God.
That's where you get the plugins in the potion room.
Oh my God, that was so nerdy. My brain's like, you could get the serum. Shut up, Pam.
Oh my God.
Funny to exactly 3 people.
Yeah, exactly. We're aiming for the niche.
Yeah.
But I mean, we need to normalize talking about plugins and potions.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's especially. I've talked to so many artists now who are female and non-binary who it took us so long to be like, yes, I am a music producer, despite being like, well, what do you do? Well, I produce music. Oh, I guess you're a music producer.
Yeah.
Hold up, what?
I honestly still struggle with that. Like, kind of calling myself a producer, but that's just because I have like so much respect for that kind of like title. Because I mean, anyone can call themselves a photographer nowadays, but that doesn't mean like I feel like I have the the right to call myself a photographer. You know what I mean? It's like it's not a protected title, just like a music producer isn't a protected title either. But I just feel like I don't know. I just have like so like honor and fear for that title. Does that make sense?
It totally does. I definitely for a long time thought of music production as incredibly intimidating. And then I realized what I was actually intimidated by more was actually the engineering portion of it. Like that's the title that I haven't owned yet because I don't think I'm good enough at it yet. Like engineering to say like, oh, I'm an engineer.
Yeah. Okay. Because that takes like next level. Like you got to be really good to like be able to like, or do you mean like the mixing part, or do you mean like setting things up and making sure it's all sounds really good and like making like EQing and everything when you like kind of like record it and stuff? Now we're getting to like now we're getting nerdy. Okay, because like I'm moving out of my own like sort of knowledge landscape now, so this must be this might be like less nerdy for someone else. So I guess nerdy is subjective.
Yeah, that is like for me as well. That's kind of the edge of my nerdiness right there where
but I think it's like they have this like automatic like sort of like they have all these like they've worked for so long that they will have like all these like paths that they kind of know where to go to make that shit. Does that make sense?
It totally does. And it's like, I don't have that thing yet. I can be like, I want a guitar that sounds like a glacier. And the first time I make the sound, it sounds sort of like an organ mixed with a lawnmower. And I'm like, all right, we'll refine that.
But have you, that's like, I honestly want to, after this, I want to go into my Logic project and I want to try to do that. Like make something that sounds like a glacier. Like, what is that? That's insane. That's some witchy stuff.
Yes. And like, that's why I don't know. Maybe there could be an in-between word, like a music experimenter. They did sonic sculptor, like something.
Experimental music.
There we go.
That isn't that even a thing? I know I remember I have some like stock Logic plugins that says experimental guitar and I'm like, wow, so cool.
Like it's so fun. Yeah, and like even because you did like low key, like I love that you literally muttered I made an album and I'm like
I mean I did make an album. It's done and I'm just waiting for that shit to come out before I die. I feel like I'm really scared I'm gonna die before it comes out.
Oh well, I mean, don't die, but when do you anticipate it coming out? Like, what's the holdup? What's going on?
No, it's just putting out music. It's like you want to make sure it's done justice, so it takes time.
Yes.
To get it to all the right people and to sort of have everyone we want on board listen to it in time and all that stuff.
Yes, that's very true.
So it's a lot of work on the back end. And also I've just been doing all these like meetings and showing it off to everyone. Sounds like I don't know. I've been really insecure about it, but I got to just fake it till we make it. That's my approach right now. So, but yes, it's done and it's coming out really soon. So I just want it to be out and then I can get on with my life.
Yes. That's the weirdest feeling.
I just really want someone else to hear, like the world to hear it. That's why you make something and you put it out because you want everyone to hear it.
Exactly. And even, I don't know if this has happened to you, but the things that I'm most unsure of tend to be the ones that people end up liking a lot. And I don't know if there's like some quality of like either vulnerability or confusion. I'm not sure what it is. But the stuff that I feel the most like, right before I put it out is usually the stuff that people are like, oh, I really like that. And I was like, why?
Yeah. I mean, I hope that maybe if I feel that for the entire album, hopefully that happens with everything. And it's a full on win for me.
Yes. Did you record it like during this time or did you record it beforehand? Like, what was that like?
No, I recorded it during quarantine. So, but I started all the idea. Well, I started some ideas in 2019 and then some ideas in 2020. And then I produced them kind of like I was trying to figure out like what are these ideas, trying to like find the DNA of the song kind of. And then I took them to a friend of mine now. His name is Matthias Tellez. And I brought everything into the studio there and I finished all my lyrics there and recorded vocals and sort of re-recorded any, badly recorded guitars that, I'm a real sloppy guitarist. I don't play very well, but Fender has sent me a lot of free guitars. So I'm like, I need to get better. I did a guitar interview yesterday and they were like, what's your favorite guitar inspiration? I'm like, oh, I don't even know. Like, I need to start nerding at the guitar stuff.
That's so funny that you're like, I'm not sure. I just have several.
Yes, like I like the red one. It's a Telecaster. Yes, I know that for sure. But yes, the colors for me, that's really like what I like. Pickups, no. I want to focus on the colors. That's kind of my vibe.
My brain like pickups. I don't know her.
No, don't know her. Don't talk to me about her ever again.
Oh,
that's the diva. That's the diva coming out.
Exactly. The inner Mariah Carey. I don't know her. Oh my God.
I've actually never said that in a real life conversation. I'm like, no, I don't know her because that it's I don't know. I want to start saying that though because it feels like someone. If you're really confident, you can say something like that. I want to be a confident person.
Yes, one of my friends said it and I'd same thing where I'd never actually said it. Can you use the word meme as a verb? Can you say I memed it? Like, is that just?
I have no idea. I think it should be. I think it should be a part of our language because it's a meme is literally such a central part of a human life nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, that's a huge part of how we communicate because I'm like, oh no, I've definitely dropped that meme in conversation like multiple times. And then I'm like, can I meme it? Like, can I just say that now?
But meme, that's also, no, that's because isn't that like, that French dude in that box, who's he's memeing. Is that what it's called?
I'm miming.
Miming? Oh shit. All right. Okay. Never mind.
Usually it's so funny because I talk to people about their relationships with social media and prior to this it was so different. But now that it's like in some ways it's kind of like one of our only portals, I feel like in some ways, especially TikTok, or at least the corners of TikTok I'm on, they're so like pure and joyful and people are interacting with each other. And I actually really like it. Like it feels sociable in a way that like the other platforms don't. Like I feel like Instagram gets kind of almost like parasocial where like you're just sort of missing someone's life, but you're not participating. Whereas like you can actually have like conversations and back and forth and like duets on TikTok in a way. And so it's like you kind of interact with each other as opposed to just like witnessing each other.
Yeah, I agree. And like the comments. Also, I'm on the good side of TikTok. I bet there are I bet there are a bunch of bad sides to it, just like anything with the internet. But the sides that I'm on are just like really fun and light comment sections where it's all pretty much all jokes. And and I don't know, it's just always fun to like see a comment with like 400,000 likes because everyone thought that same thing. And it's like, yeah, this is, it's like, I also feel like, especially during the pandemic, which is for me is when I started using TikTok. Cause I was like, prior to that, I was like, I don't want another thing to take my attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I was like, honestly, like I'd rather just see what the fuss is about. And, I feel like it's been like a weird hangout place for everyone, like especially like I'm on like a very like Gen Z TikTok, but and it feels like everyone's like very understanding. Like, yes, we're all in a pandemic, but at least we're on TikTok together. Kind of. I don't know.
Yeah, it has also like it's funny because I'm like as an elder millennial.
Oh, how old are you?
I'm turning 39 next week.
Oh my god.
I'm ancient, but very small.
No, you're not. Honestly, I'm deleting age as a thing because like all my friends now are like I turn 22 next. Oh, when's your birthday? My birthday is February 16th.
Oh, mine's the 17th. We have sequential birthdays.
Oh my god.
That's
Honestly, we
exciting.
could have been. I saw a TikTok today that said you could be born at the same time, but in different time zones. So maybe. See, I don't know, but let's say yes for the sake of coolness.
With yes. I'm gonna go with yes. We're gonna determine planetary spin just based on coolness.
Yeah. You know what is it? What is time anyway? It's flexible, right? You know.
At this point, it's completely made up. Someone apologized for showing up to like a podcast interview like 5 minutes late, and I genuinely like didn't notice. They were like, "I'm so sorry." I was like, "What are you sorry about?" And they're like, "I'm so late." And I was like, "Huh?" I was like, "No, okay."
Time is deleted. Time is, we don't know her.
See, already incorporating it. I love this. That's funny what you said about like Gen Z hanging out on TikTok, because I have definitely stumbled into Gen Z TikTok, even as an elder millennial. I think because like I'm in like a lot of like mental health TikTok and music TikTok and queer TikTok. Like occasionally I'll meander into straight TikTok and I'm like, oh, that went weird.
I think I've wandered into straight TikTok like 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, why is this on my For You page?
There's a lot of men splitting logs for some reason, and I'm confused by this.
That's probably because they think they're really hot, and like they think, but all the girls are gonna come dripping for them. Yeah. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it's confusing to me. Maybe it's because I live in LA and I don't need firewood. But it's
maybe
confusing.
Why did you even get that in the first place? You don't need the wood.
Literally, I'm like multiple levels. But yeah, like generally the communities on TikTok are so fun, and I love the emphasis also on, like you said, like people are really chill and accepting. And for me personally, I love the attitude of being very open and talking about mental health and sharing tips about mental health, as opposed to having it either be stigmatized or sensationalized. Things like that, where like I absolutely love that about the platform, because people aren't preachy on it. Like I do find that on different platforms where people are like, mental health awareness, here's my story, bye. And you're like, I don't know if that helps people, ? Whereas like on TikTok, people are like, here's how I'm feeling and here's how I deal with it. Like, how do you deal with it? How are you?
Yeah. And it's a lot more like day-to-day sort of mental health stuff that at least that pops up on my For You page. But it's not like mental health should not be like what you said, that cool word that started with an S.
What did I say? Did I say stigmatized and then sensational?
No, that other one. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sensationalized. Holy crap.
Knocking it out of the park with words.
Yeah. We're the word geeks.
That's me and you. Together we say words.
Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. I love being a fragile little human.
I was joking. I was like, one of my main talents is that my body thinks that like really not scary things are threats. It's like that lawn over there, terrifying threat.
Yeah, I feel the same way, but with anxiety. It's just like my body is like, yeah, I have to wake you up now. It's 5 a.m. and I think you're gonna die.
Yeah, and you're like, why? And your body's like, no reason.
No reason. Yeah, you're actually like in one of the safest places you could be right now. But no, I will raise your heartbeat like crazy and make you scared.
Oh my God, anxiety is such a jerk.
Yeah, fuck him. We don't know her.
Can we exile her?
Dude, we're actually best friends.
Oh my God. Anxiety, it's so interesting though. I talk to people about anxiety brain a lot, that like one of the cool things about anxiety brain is if you can think of all the catastrophic things that can happen, that means you're quite creative. So I always challenge people to be like, okay, think of at least like half that many things that are good that could happen. Like if you can think of that many bad things that could happen, like, wow, do you have a bunch of ideas? That's great. Let's take that and apply it in the other
that's a good
direction.
spin. That sounds like a very healthy way of thinking of something. Honestly, I've never thought of it like that.
Yeah. It's a fun way.
Because I do have a lot of creative stuff. Like I do come up with the craziest shit.
Yeah. Like I call it spinning good conspiracies. Cause like oftentimes our brain is like, what are all the bad conspiracies that could happen? I'm like, oh, what are even some neutral conspiracies? What are some good conspiracies? Like apply that, but like in other emotional directions and see what happens. It's like, wow, the brain's so powerful.
Oh, I'm gonna try this. Like next time I'm like, Marie, you have a blood clot that's going through your leg into your head right now. You need to panic. Next time that happens, I'm gonna be like, okay, what's something other creative that's really good? Like I'm gonna try to get the focus out of myself and onto something else.
Yeah. It helps whenever I'm like, my main anxiety is if like I text someone and they don't text me back, I immediately think they hate me, even though I've never like not texted someone back because I hate them. Like it's a completely illogical assumption.
Yes. Oh
and
my God.
So
I know that. That's not a good one. That's
no.
I get the same, but like every time I meet someone, like right after I say goodbye, I'm like, okay, they're gonna hate me for everything I said. But I've never felt that way for anyone, even though like even if someone said something weird, I'm like, yeah, they're still a nice person. You know what I mean? Honestly, so important. It's kind of selfish to be like, because I find myself always like being like, oh, why didn't they reply, or like, but it's like thinking of like how. Like it's kind of like, I don't know, you're focusing a lot like what's wrong with me, but really texting is a very unnatural thing because like you're present in real life, but then like you have to go like into your phone, but you can't always go into your phone because if you're out walking and you maybe like you're buying groceries and then you walk home and you don't have your hands there, but you saw the message, but like you need to get home and like, you know what I mean? It's like there are so many things that does not have anything to do with me or you or anyone. So it's like,
exactly.
But the thing is like, I'm really bad at responding. Like I will disappear. Like my friends will be like, hey, I miss you. And I'll see it. And then like, yeah, that's nice. And then like, I'll do something else and then I forget.
Well, and especially, I don't know about you, but when I'm in like writing mode or creating mode, I'll throw my phone into the proverbial sea.
You know, like I also get like if someone try to contact me when I'm making music, I'm like I get very quickly annoyed, which isn't a very charming thing, and it isn't really a good thing because that person does not know. But it's like it's that I just want to be this one place right now. Like don't try to get me somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? Like I just want to be present, and I miss that.
Yes. And I'm so glad you were able to actually go in a studio because that's one thing that I've missed during this is like being able to enter that physical space. Like I have like my home studio, but like I haven't been able to like go into friends' studios or like get into that kind of headspace where you're outside of yourself and you're outside of technology. Well, outside of communicative technology, obviously you're usually using a computer to record, but it's like
no, actually I use a tape machine for tapes only for me. Like, no, I don't.
I record directly to Super 8 film.
No, I definitely don't do that. I don't even think that shit records sound. That would be I'm making meme music. I am making fully quiet meme music. I'm just memeing.
Just memeing away. I think about like your generation and my generation in some ways, like the shift to being just super online during this time. Yes, it has been a shift, but it hasn't been like entirely destabilizing. Whereas,
but it's like it's interesting because like, you know, I've never gotten into Trump TikTok, but I know that Trump TikTok is like a huge thing.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that's the same for me.
So like and sometimes the only time I see a Trump TikTok is when, you know, some like a Democrat is reacting to it and just like slamming the shit out of what they're saying. So So like, and then I'm like, how do you guys find these things? Like, how do you end up on Trump TikTok? Like, I don't know. Like, it's weird because like my For You page is pretty much just like, it's just feeding me everything I like. And that's why it's so funny, because I like everything I watch. So I like everything I watch, and then I get more of it. And then but at least I think it's really important that, that awareness, like, so it's not like you think that, because I think it gets scary when you're like, oh, this is funny and this is how the world is, like if you start living and making decisions, especially like political decisions based on like things like that, and if you're not like aware, that's when shit starts getting really scary.
Yes. And now yes. I'm curious how to almost like explore other bubbles. Even when you were talking about like releasing an album, the things that go into like sharing it with people and getting it out to people who you most want to connect with and that you feel like most will connect with your music and things like that. Even that's like a community as well. And I think about like, what is it like being outside that bubble? Because I would say like my experience of algos on other platforms seems to be just more chaotic. Like they aren't sure what I want necessarily. So I don't necessarily like exit, I would say, my bubble though. Like I've never been served, for instance, like I've never been served kind of like right-wing stuff.
No, me neither.
And so like I think it knows like I'm not that far over there, but like occasionally it'll send me what I would describe as like either centrist or kind of boring stuff. Like it kind of serves me stuff where it's trying to figure out who I am. Yeah,
that's scary.
Yeah like it definitely,
then it's like it's trying to tilt you over to one of the sides.
It's kind of fascinating and horrifying.
Maybe if I start a brand new TikTok, and what if I buy a completely new phone with a new Apple ID, and I start a whole new phone, and then I create this, and then so it has like no linking to me whatsoever. And then I start just liking right-wing stuff and see what happens.
I'm so curious because I'm curious now, even like, I'm like, what art is on the other side? What forms of expression are on the other side? Because when you were talking about that, I thought about that I'm like, yeah, we share this common language of like, even you said like, you're like, oh, I know that Enya song because of that. And I'm like, what art do they share? I'm so curious now. I'm just like,
they share a song that's like, I voted for Donald Trump. Have you heard that song?
Oh my God, yeah, because the flip side of that is the fuck Donald Trump song.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah, like it's such an interesting time because we are like, even when you said like, I don't know who I am anymore, I'm in core. Like in a way we've been forming our identities outside, and then all of a sudden now we have to form our identities only inside. And so all we see is like all these things refracted to us in the media.
Okay, so left here and right here is a lot different than what it is. Like we have a lot more, we don't have as like, it's not like you're either this or this. It's more like we have a big spectrum with like a bunch of parties. So we don't kind of like lead up to like, it's either this or that. But we have kind of, the thing is like we call them extremists here, like right extremists, like populists or whatever. I'm not sure. So those will like walk around with like, Nazi stuff on them and be like, we don't want to wear a mask. So it's like, it's kind of crazy here also sometimes, but it's only been one, and it wasn't a fairly big one because you're fucking stupid if you don't want to wear a mask.
Seriously, like when people don't want to wear masks, I just question. I'm just like I think of my friends from Asian cultures that like wear masks all the time.
Yes,
like
I think
common courtesy.
I think masks are going to be so like moving forward. Just realizing like how like I don't think I honestly doubt that it's going to be a long time before people take the subway without putting a mask on. Like Like I think, and also like when it comes like small like grocery stores and shit, like there's gonna be antibacterial everywhere for a long time, because people will be like, oh wait, okay, so a pandemic happened that fast, like the globalization is still going on like crazy, so like it's not like we're going to stop flying everywhere. So
right and I think that it's smart to adapt to what's going on, and also evaluate, like, how are we taking care of ourselves and taking care of our planet that this could happen, and how do we modify that to take better care of ourselves and our planet, instead of being like it. I guess, I mean, it is a form of grief to be in denial, like, and anger and all of that. It's like I get that, but like at the same time, it's like, okay, it's been like a year now.
We gotta adapt. That's how we survive. That's evolution.
Yeah. And it's like, how do we take better care of each other? How do we take better care of ourselves? And like the world that we live in, that in a way, it's like, well, how do viruses spread? How do we contain things like this? How do we help our community? How do we help our environment? It all ties together, at least in my mind.
Yeah.
It's like, are you?
But honestly, speaking of taking care of yourself, my food is here in like 2 minutes. I feel like I don't want to rush to say goodbye, but like I feel like I'm gonna get really stressed when the doorbells rings and I have to run downstairs.
You're totally fine. I have no concept of time. I didn't realize we'd even gone over an hour, because it's been such a pleasure talking to you. I'm like, you should totally get your food.
But honestly, right back at you. It's been really fun. Like, this is my first podcast, so I mean, it's been a pleasure. It's been good.
It's been so much fun. I was just like, oh, I'll see you on TikTok.
I'll see you in the comment section.
Thank you again for listening to this episode of Why Not Both. If you liked what you heard, please make sure to like us and subscribe to us on your preferred podcast platform. You can also come hang out with us on social media. We are at WNB the podcast, both on Instagram and on Twitter. This season, we are brought to you by Under the Radar magazine. Under the Radar is a nationally distributed print, music, and entertainment magazine and website. You can find them at www.undertheradarmag.com, and feel free to support them on Patreon. Extra special thanks to our producer, Laura Studeris, who is literally a rock star. Thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you next episode.